Welcome back, Disc Golf World. This is our conclusion, final round, front nine of the Grip Equipment Kansas City Wide Open. This is a Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver event. I am Connor O'Reilly, joined in the booth by Nathan Queen. Happy to have you here, Nathan.
And happy to be here back for the final round, as you said, at Stocksdale Park Bad Rock Creek Disc Golf Course. Gannon Buhr, the 12 down clean round yesterday to get to 20 under par, has a 2-stroke lead over Joseph Anderson. Jacob Hebenheimer tying that 12 under, and then Evan Scott 9 down, going to be the fourth player on our card today.
Yeah, a lot of times you think 11 strokes from top to bottom of the leaderboard is a lot of room, but a lot can happen on this course, even though we know Gannon's a solid player.
Yeah, and a place for a lot of things to happen is here on hole 1, 575-foot par 4. We've seen most players go towards the shorter landing zone over here on the left side, and the grass just short of this big bush. I imagine possibly on the last day we might see more aggression and see some players push towards these wood chips to try to get possibly an eagle look or just an easy chance for birdie rather than having to approach.
Easiest scoring conditions of the tournament, 9 holes played under par today. Will anyone score the first eagle here? It's a hole that in theory is eagleable, but to actually go for it does feel kind of like a wild man's play unless it's just the perfect wind.
How many of those bags do you think Gannon goes through a week?
I think he needs about 3 per round times 2 rounds a day, 7 days a week. I mean, we're talking a lot of bags, Nathan.
Gannon did get aggressive and go toward those wood chips, but didn't get it out far enough to the right to be in the ideal spot. He'll be dealing with some of those trees, forehand or backhand.
Yeah, I have that option to pitch this kind of safer forehand that putts at the water or try to lay the backhand gently onto the green for the park job. We get to watch Joe play again today. We saw his smooth game yesterday. Solid player, like we mentioned, 3rd highest rated player in the field, so no surprise that he finds himself up here, even though you might not know him yet.
From Jefferson City, Missouri, he's 17 under, Jake Hebenheimer.
Local love for Jake. Kid out of Missouri. Ton of arm talent.
What is up with this headwind?
Yeah, arm talent, tons of distance. He's definitely one that could run this green if he chose to. Sounds like the headwind might keep him from doing that.
I don't think we saw a headwind all day, so just a little bit of a swirl happening at the wrong time for Jake. Playing very overstable rive. Should be able to handle the wind. He smacks that thing. Jake has some of the best power in the game. Super flexible, a lot of fast twitch muscle fiber in his body, and yeah, he just put a hurt on that overstable driver.
Yeah, he's up there pin height. Just off to the left side. Although he's in those trees, he's pretty close to the basket in those trees. Shouldn't have too much issue. And Evan Scott with that 9 down, jumping up to lead card today. Shown up on a couple different coverages. Got himself a Silver Series win earlier on this year out in Montana.
Yeah, Evan, one of the best players on the tour around the greens, and very good at hitting gaps, being from the Carolinas. And this course definitely sets up for his game.
Bit shorter than you'd like to be. He's probably 250, maybe 240 or so from this distance, or from right here.
Yeah, harder to kind of come in high and soft from this distance. You really just got to commit. And he comes up just short. His disc is tantalizingly sitting on those rocks, but not inbounds.
And Joey Bucket swinging a hyzer around outside. Pretty common for what you see here from that shorter landing zone. Get down behind it. Going to have a circle 2 look and a chance to run it or not.
Looks like zone OS for this fourth shot out of Evan and almost rings that thing up. Such an overstable disc. Just dives out of the sky.
Gannon not quite far enough to go with that forehand and is going to trust something out over
Just
that water.
standstill putts it up there, Nathan. That is pretty impressive to have the trust on that.
Just barely caught enough glide there at the end. Looked a little scary out of the hand. As Jake kind of overstretches that one a bit. Still inside the circle.
Yeah, maybe it was more focused on hitting the gaps than really holding that angle. Let's see if he hits this testy putt to start his round. Joe almost rolls off the other disc and goes OB. Does come in with heavy hyzer though, an angle that does like to roll.
Yeah, and a nice tester putt. That can get your confidence going. 26, 27 feet up the hill towards the OB behind the basket, but no worries for Jake Hebenheimer. He's going to start his round with a nice birdie.
Yeah, we've seen Jake go to the horseshoe putt a lot of last season and early in this season. He's kind of gone back and forth. Recently, he's been going back to kind of that traditional style putt, and I really like the stroke he's going with. I hope to see him stick with it and just continue to mentally buckle down on the putts. I think that's where the misses are coming from more than mechanically. Hole 2, par 3, 204 feet. Got these 2 chopped off telephone poles kind of shaping the gap if you want to just play a straight low shot at it. There's kind of a stalling shot over that left side if you have the right hand forehand or the left hand backhand and you want to try that, but most players just playing straight at this one. Just got to make sure to hit the correct speed and height here. Try to check into this hillside short. Everything that is not inside these rocks is hazard strokes, so this one feels like it can be overly penalizing at times. I think we'd like to see it out of bounds with a drop zone here next year.
Is Gannon going to catch one of those poles and end up in that hazard? I haven't been over on the left side, but I think he made it out of the woods.
Yeah, it should just be a wide open putt from there. Jake hits the other one.
I have been over on the right side, and he is not out of the woods. He's going to be in a pretty precarious position over there.
Joseph plays the traditional flat backhand and on top of the hill.
That's how you want to throw a 204-foot hole.
Yeah, ideally you're kind of hanging out around that bullseye whisker on this one. Low stress putt.
Yeah, and a nice touchy forehand there from Evan Scott. Going to put himself on that mound as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Evan choose forehand. He has such a great backhand, but maybe liked it for the wind or just for facing that gap up. The tee box was slightly uphill here, so maybe that had some effect on his choice.
And Hebenheimer unable to get on the island from that tricky position that he was in.
Gannon nearly drops it in with the floaty putt from 90 feet. What trajectory he can put on that thing.
So this is for a 5 now because he's got 2 hazard strokes. Able to make a nice putt, though. He'll be 1 over after 2.
That putting stroke looks great. That's kind of what's held Jake back over the years. He's always been a pretty talented thrower and definitely a talented putter as well. Just a matter of staying focused and staying true to his line.
Yeah, and a nice bounce back there from Evan after that bogey on the first one. He's going to birdie the second, which was the easiest hole on the course today. Only 13% par, 64% birdie, 22% bogey or above. Not something you see too often.
No.
Hole 3, 605-foot par 4. Couple options off of the tee. I like the high left gap. You will see some backhands through this gap as well. Maybe some forehand rollers. We even saw backhand cut roller yesterday, so kind of whatever you want to do to just try to get through that tree line. You want to push at least 30 feet past it so you're around the corner and can approach this basket if you have the distance to. Gonna be 400, hopefully at maximum, but can be a bit farther. Ideally, you'd like to be about 380 or so.
And this one, once again, plays the hardest hole on the track. It just kind of surprises me to see that. I don't know why. It does have plenty of danger.
Yeah, as soon as you don't make this gap, you've got to lay up short, and then there's still tons of OB for that next layup shot, and that can cause double bogeys pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I guess we don't see the super high birdie percentage here to really offset some of the bogeys that we see like we do on the other holes. Gannon going with that backhand cut roller again.
And it is...
I love it.
In a fantastic position.
Sit down.
But getting a little bit worse at the moment.
Oh my gosh.
He's just playing shade golf down there now. Still going to be in a fine position. Just might have to worry about those electric poles a little more.
Yeah, not a bad day for shade golf. Was our sunniest day, but his hyzer will have to really kind of test that field goal of the poles. Jake gets the roller ramp, and he's going to have a similar width to Gannon's shot there. A little bit behind him, though.
Yeah, that thing ramped up pretty high. He's still going to have that 400, maybe a little bit more, and a bit more uphill now since he's down at the bottom.
Yeah, there's that chip play you talked about from Anderson. Looks like he kind of hit that pipe that has the other basket location located inside.
Jake Hebenheimer having plenty of power, still going to be able to try to attack this. This came out pretty low, but tons of speed,
wow.
And he's going to go long still, but remain in bounds. Have another just outside the circle look.
Evan plays straight at it.
Oh, that looked a bit slippy.
Yeah, skies that one. Did kind of look like his foot rotated a little too fast on him.
That's foul, right?
Yeah, and he could have tried to go high and wide there, but Evan does like to kind of pull over the top of the disc, so elects to go up the gut to suit that comfortable release angle.
And look at this trust with the understable disc, throwing it on a hyzer, stands it up, and he's going to be just outside the bullseye.
Yeah,
Great third shot there from Joey Buckets.
He's been throwing a lot of really good slower mid-range shots, which I think shows a lot of good technique and trust in his ability.
And Gannon was a bit worried about those electric poles. Rather than trying to go inside them, he pulls it out wide, and it was not the right decision.
Yeah, I think, you got to kind of just take your gamble there, try to throw the shape that gets to the basket, and whether or not it catches onto those poles. Yeah, Gannon has so many shots in his bag. Interesting to see him kind of force that one.
Jake for a bounce back birdie. He's going to catch about half of the basket along the way and end up falling out of the back.
Yeah, front side cage, jumps up into the chains and bounces off the backside, flops out.
A nice par cleanup there from Anderson.
Kind of a slow start so far for this lead card. Gannon 1 over par. Jake 1 over par. And Evan as well.
Yeah, a couple bogeys for two players and a double bogey for the other. Anderson able to keep it clean, only 1 under par at the moment, so he has tied Gannon Buhr up at the moment. Sullivan Tipton starting off his round well, 3 down through 3.
Yeah, Sullivan showed that he has some good game yesterday.
So the Supreme line is going to be the next generation of plastic that's going to allow players to take their game to the next level.
Yeah, the first 4 discs that are going to be released in the Supreme Series are going to be our first 4 original molds: the Judge, the Trespass, the Fugitive, and the Escape. All of the Supreme Series molds, they're actually brand new PDJ approved molds that are designed for the specifics that we believe our players are asking for today.
Whale sacks are a unique grip accessory, handmade in the USA by fellow disc golfers like you. If you own a disc golf store, run a league, club, or tournament, whale sacks are the perfect addition to your players' packs, CTP prizes, or product to offer your customers. A portion of every sale is donated to Save the Whales. For wholesale pricing, visit whalesacks.com/bulk to get yours. It's time to join the Whale Club.
Here we are on hole 4. Every open wooded combo course has one. It's the power line hole, you guys. First shot, rip something out that flies straight for most of the flight and tails off to the right down this gap and continuing to fly down the slope. If you hit and match the height and angle here, your disc will just continue to carry. If you get past this hay bale or somewhere around it, you're in the prime landing zone, leaving yourself some kind of a straight shot into the green. Left to right slope will really collect your disc. You just got to make sure to avoid the hanging branches out on that right side of the fairway and shape some kind of a gentle straight shot in. Forehands need to turn for a little bit at the beginning of the flight.
Yeah, and this one does. It hyzers back just in front of that tree. It's going to have all the room he wants to work that fairway now with either a stand-up hyzer or kind of a straight shot. This,
A little
we'll
high.
see. Yeah, makes the corner. And with that height is able to stick it. So he's going to have more of a flex shot from where he's at.
Yeah, Jake had enough speed on that one to fight the corner, but it was a close call.
Oh, and to throw this shot, you've really got to throw a hyzer flip, not a turnover. And he threw a turnover there. He's going to be early into the woods.
Yeah, if you want to play a turnover, you got to play almost at the left side of that stand of trees down there straight ahead. It's got to be super wide.
And this looks great from Gannon, especially if he gets a skip. But just going to be good now. Didn't get that skip. But 415 feet from there, still very accessible.
Yeah, he lands 2 meters ahead in that mulch, and we usually see a big rocket skip to get at least the extra 60 feet.
Evan able to do a little bit of good work. Didn't get too far into the woods there.
Yeah, with his putting prowess, he definitely has a chance from there. Joe flattens up on this Cax again, I believe, that he's been throwing so well. Great flight there. Pushes the low side, but very aggressive place to putt from on the screen.
Yeah, again, Gannon showcasing that power that he has, able to go mid-range from 400 plus and just going to absolutely pin it. What a shot.
On the pole. Gannon isn't really a player who elects to throw kind of flat baby force angle a lot of times, so showing that he does have it when he needs it.
A little bit too much pace on that one. Could have used some more height as well. This hill's kind of tricky for that hyzer shot. If you get it high enough, it'll fade back and they seem to stick pretty well when you land. But if you don't get it high enough, then it just seems to hold up left the longer it gets there, and you get trapped up there and have this very scary look down the hill.
Yeah, quite a bit of downslope behind here. Jake hits the top. And hard to tell how far that went. Probably 20, 25 feet. And there we had Gannon tap his out real quick and move on to the next tee. Hopefully he got permission from the card.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. As Joseph Anderson able to get his second birdie of the round. 2 through 4. Keeps in that tie for the lead. Evan Scott with a nice putt.
Yeah, wobbles that one on in there. There's times where Evan kind of takes some pace off and it comes out a little wobbly.
Coming back for the par and pretty confident stroke there.
Yeah, putt's looking great for Hebenheimer, coming out very clean spin. Nice neutral angle.
That'll bring us into hole 5. One of the more
Picturesque.
holes on the course. 624 foot par 4. You've got a gap on the left side to hit that you'd like to carry all the way up to the top of the hill to have some gaps through the woods. If you scoot over to this right side, then you're going to have this some sort of look to hyzer over this pond. So just both parts of this hole really look great to me. You know, the vision that you get off of the tee with these two gaps to hit, and then you've kind of got the water carry or some gaps to hit on the left side. Very well thought out hole.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. It's definitely one of the gems on this course. If anything, I'd maybe like to see the water branches cleaned up a little bit to make that side more accessible. But the hole is looking really good.
As is this shot from Gannon. Powers a forehand over with lots of stability. And ends up in a pretty nice spot. He'll have options to go either way from there.
Yeah, you really have to trust the disc to go Anheuser here. A lot of times you'd rather miss too much hyzer. Gannon showing he knows his equipment. Wow, that's a... Man, he beats that trunk and gets a little bit of skip forward. All of a sudden, birdie is right there in front of him now. It's going to be quite a heroic shot to get there.
Yeah, I think even if he just sits there after he hits it, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. As Evan Scott going to take that right side. Not something that we've really seen yet. Does it pretty cleanly, but doesn't seem to land in too great of a spot.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of the locals kind of taking that route, but I didn't really see many of the touring guys go in there. Jake turfs this one. Hard to tell if it got any kind of ground play.
Gannon going to go with this left side as well.
Plays the wide gap to perfection. Trusts the stable disc out flat. Just fades for the second half of its flight.
Evan going low shot over top of that water.
Oh,
Gets some nice ground play. He's going to be up inside circle 1. Trying to maintain that par-free round at the moment.
yeah, hopefully he can start piling on some more green.
Wow, and look how far Joey is up here. Standstill. Hyzer into the bullseye. Looks like he's going to be 3 down through 5.
Yeah, he just textbooked that hole. Showing his versatile skills. Forehand and backhand. Definitely favors the backhand, but has the forehand when he needs it. And I think that's kind of how you see the game going more and more nowadays. Players understanding the backhand really is the main driver of the game, but having that forehand is a valuable tool.
And a nice scramble there from Jake. Able to stay at just 1 over. Got some birdie holes coming up, so he's going to be looking to make that push, get back under par. As is Evan Scott with that birdie right there. No pars yet. He'll be looking to keep that going, but with birdies to continue.
Little roller coaster so far for Scott, as well as Buhr, as he looks to have a similar looking card, just one better. Or 2 better, I should say, since one's a birdie and not a bogey.
And Joseph Anderson keeping that bogey-free round going. He's got the best one going. 3 down through 5.
Currently tied up with Gannon for that lead. He's got to be feeling pretty good. And as we step up to hole 6, pretty open tee shot. Lets you feel like you can just kind of chip it up there, but you really got to be specific. Hit the ideal speed here so that you do not go too far or too short, because this gap is very particular. Land it somewhere here, and then you'll have some variant of a straight shot, whether it's a forehand flex, backhand flip up, or some kind of a more drastic flex if you kind of miss that gap by a bit. This one can be an elusive one to get your putt up close. You see a lot of circle 2 looks on this hole.
Yeah, the second shots that collect down at the bottom of the hill, fairly easy to get up and down for par from. So you see a lot of pars on this one, 58%.
Gannon speed looks pretty ideal. He'll have touch a hyzer backhand through the gap probably.
Evan Scott likes some overstable discs. I've seen him use them quite a bit and is able to control that speed nicely. Liked where Gannon was at. Tried to put it right on top.
Yeah, likely either that straight zone Evan likes to throw from there or maybe the buzz from that position. Jake plays more of a spiky angle and pushes a few feet longer. He's going to have a dead straight shot available.
Yeah, and I think that plays best for him. He likes that power hyzer straight shot, which is what he's going to have left. Joseph Anderson has a bit of a flex shot here and doesn't quite get the drag off to the right that he wanted. Going to kick way down left.
Okay, Gannon going to that forehand flex. I thought there might be a chance he did, but I was hoping he'd show off that straight backhand for us.
Yeah, he's also not going to get the drag that he was looking, this time to the left side, so he's going to kick down to the right.
Evan also taking forehand, but it is with that zone. What great angle control to come with a slower disc on a long shot like that.
Yeah, gets a little sneak through those last trees, puts himself up inside the circle.
I mean, probably in the 300, 290 foot range in, but it's not a lot of ceiling to work with, so you really got to play a direct line.
Jake going understable. Oh, man, hitting an even smaller gap through those trees.
Jumps through the little gap. Jake's going to be collecting a birdie likely here on 6.
Bullseye birdie as Joseph Anderson got way off into the woods over there and has a circle 2 putt to keep his bogey-free round going. See if he's able to convert for that.
Cannon just pitching a hyzer putt layup. No intention on that one.
Yeah, able to hit a pretty small gap to get there. Big putt for momentum here.
For a stroke and...
Yeah, that's just to save his par
Actually,
there.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So big to not lose a stroke.
Yeah.
That maintains tied for the lead. So Evan Scott trying to get another birdie. Go ahead and count it.
Dives it in that bottom left of the cage, able to get the nose dropping on that putt. Good cleanup, Evan. Finds himself back at even par.
Speaking of par, Gannon Buhr has found his first one of the round. And Hebenheimer finally got himself another birdie, fought his way back to even as well as Scott.
Yeah, Jake goes to that upside down tap in at times. I guess just feels comfortable with it, dropping into the basket. Here's a look at that leaderboard. After 6 holes, Sullivan Tipton 6 through 6.
Got a little Connor O'Reilly sighting down there at the bottom.
Watch out.
Moves us into hole 7. A 411-foot par 3. Be right-handed, you know, and throw a shot. I guess you throw a mid-range now. We were talking about this yesterday. I would think you throw fairway down there to not skip too much and find the OB on the left side, but throw a mid-range down there as well. Lots of players have that power now. Will definitely keep you from skipping too far left. There is OB all the way down the right side as well. Shouldn't come into play unless you get a big old kick.
Yeah, more often you see shots kind of drag to that left side. And yeah, mid-range definitely will keep you from fading. I think if you really want to park this one, fairway driver will be your choice for most players, but I myself am electing for kind of a 9-10 speed, a little bit of force over, kind of flat out of the hand almost.
And 2 different misreleases here, but
Oh my
Hebenheimer's
gosh.
turned out so much better.
Almost into the pole there, just getting local on him.
What a miss.
Sometimes these tight wooded holes lend to some things that just cannot be necessarily repeated or explained.
Smoothness of Joey Buckets that says, I'm going to show you the intended line here and just smooth this down the fairway.
Plays it clean. That stand of 4 trees at the end that he actually split can make the clean shot kind of difficult, but glad to see his get through. Gannon going with that mid-range. Not enough speed, but with the slower disc, it doesn't tail off to the left. Driver likely would have found out of bounds there.
Yeah, it probably had enough speed if it hadn't hit about 17 leafs along the way.
Did kept nicking things every chance.
Evan trying to get scrambly there, just got knocked straight down.
Yeah, he was having to play that thing way away from the basket, and oh my gosh, another nightmare shot. Evan's round has been all over the place.
Yeah, gonna go from back-to-back birdies.
Oh my gosh.
To double bogey to go straight back to that 2 over par mark.
That would have been the most Evan Scott bogey ever if he made that. And did Gannon just nick the tree out of his hand and catch it? Okay,
he might have. I heard a little bit.
He definitely.
Yeah. He's looking at it. There's some leaves hanging off of it. It looked like he might have nicked just a bit.
Gannon just can't stay away from the narrow tree hits here on 7, but able to take par. He's feeling a little bit of the frustration right now, I'm sure. Plenty round left, though, and he still finds himself tied for the lead.
Until this moment right here, as Joseph Anderson going to tap in that birdie and through 7 holes take the solo lead.
Don't look back now. Hole 8, par 4, 756 feet. Wooded gap on this first shot lasts for about 180 to 200 feet before you punch out into this open. If you can put it somewhere near that FPO basket, you're going to have around 425 foot power shot into this green. Out of bounds lining the entire right side that you're going to likely fly over on your second shot for the right hand backhand player. Ideally, you're landing just short. If you can pin this one, obviously you'd love a tap in birdie, but you see a lot of players collect themselves just short, giving themselves an open putt, because anything long, there's a wall of trees. Jay getting local all over the place.
Yeah, and that's going to be farther right than you can typically get, which puts you closer to the pin as well. So going to be an easier approach shot from over there. After getting sneaky, this is more the intended line and going to put you in that 400-foot range. Hard to get the nose angle right.
Yeah, most players looking for a little bit of flex out of the hand. Neither of those players really got it. Gannon, though, matches that flex, fights out with the stability. That was pure. Evan, lone backhand on the card.
Yeah, that first tree on the left right there makes this shot pretty difficult.
It does.
But he is able to get through some sort of gap and get out. I'm not certain he's really in birdie position here.
Yeah, it's a long shot from here. I'm pretty much 500 feet of power or a little more to get here.
Gotta carry. Go, go, go. And it just does carry that OB line. He's put himself with a... Man, that was a smash.
That was all
shot.
of 500 there. And that tree you mentioned on the right side of the gap, I think, is what kept me from choosing the backhand shot here. Joseph finding himself in a very common area. 50-footer up the hill. Uphill run-up's going to be the trickiest part here. Hard to get the lower body transfer.
Why am I so terrible at this hole?
Yeah, definitely gets the power on this one. Just looking to hyzer back into the right spot. And he's going to be inside circle 2, maybe a little pinched off on the left side.
Yeah, that uphill run-up maybe making him feel a little out of sync with his swing. Asks why he's so bad at this hole. Jake is wide right, and that is a troublesome spot to be, though he might have found that tiny little path there. Let's see if he continues his streak of getting a little sneaky.
Oh, and just a little bit low. This is starting to get trickier. We'll have to see if he got some stuff in his way there.
Gannon having to go to the side body putt. And he dives it over the cage. What improvisation, Nathan. Oh my goodness. He's showing you. He was showing me after the round the way he did the mechanics on that and just the flexibility and the wrist pop he has and just like the trust he has just to bust something out like that in tourney. Like the kid is he's good, you guys.
Yeah, like even if you practice that shot, it's not an easy one to execute. And I couldn't tell you 100% that Gannon doesn't practice that, but I could probably say about 90% certain.
He probably has messing around, just joking.
Yeah, he's
and
messing
then,
around with it, but it's not like a practice routine that he has.
Not at all.
So
he's probably even done it being silly, and then he's like, you know what? I can do this right now.
Yeah, what a putt. That was incredible.
And Jake is in that little gap, but doesn't capitalize.
Man.
Unable to connect on the turkey there.
And the stretched out horseshoe knee putt is going to tie Gannon Buhr back up.
Gannon, the hole that he's not very good at, he's able to find a way on the putting green. Impressive stuff.
That moves us into hole 9. 268-foot par 3 with another telephone pole gap, but you don't really notice this one too much. You're more looking at this second gap and the low ceiling, that last branch that you see hanging there. Kind of the two things in your eyes. Most likely some fairways here. Try to hit this mulch and skip, or just push this branch line up top and carry as far as you can. If you catch the grass just past the mulch, you don't get too much skip. You kind of got to pick one or the other and make sure you hit this gap.
Gannon's been going with that touchy flex forehand, and this looks great. Gets a little bit of slide. Kind of 50-50 whether or not you can get that, but if you're going to come in with a little bit of angle, a lot of times you get a little more action than if you come in just dead flat.
Yeah, it's also fairly dry right now. As you see, Jake doesn't get a whole lot of ground play there. Less than Gannon for sure. He's going to be just outside circle 1.
Yeah, he had that kind of dead flat landing. Just dug into the grass. There's that Cox for Joseph again. Just barely early out of the hand. This one's such a specific timing window. Evan looks to be going to that Athena, I believe. Straight fairway driver, looking to just get it to the ground and jump.
Yeah, and he does get those wood chips. How much spin he's still at on that disc. He's going to be just outside the bullseye, maybe 18 feet. And Anderson, nice to have a window here, but he doesn't get the height right and is in jeopardy of losing his bogey-free round. He is not in a good position to make this.
Looks like he's trying to chip it in, but just hangs on to it a bit.
And hopefully that's not going to double jeopardy there.
Definitely still meat on the bone there.
Hey, that high left side's going to stick. Nice putt there from Jake. After a double bogey on the second, he gets back to 2 down on this front 9. Way to battle.
Confident stroke for Joey.
And there's going to be a 2-stroke swing on this hole now that Gannon has connected on his birdie. Went from a tie to a 2-stroke lead, just like when the round started.
Yeah, all of a sudden Gannon finds himself back in that driver's seat with a stroke or 2 to give. And we know he is a dangerous player on Championship Sunday.
Evan Scott finishing out with a birdie and just that 1 par on the front 9. Bit of a struggle, but some scoring opportunities on the back for him.
Yeah, some uncharacteristic misfires out of Scott. Jake, as you mentioned, climbing back. And Joseph finally giving up that clean round on 9.
Sullivan-Tipton up there in a tie for third, and there you are, moving up a little bit more. 7 down through that front 9.
Riding the wave, y'all.
Well, thank you guys for joining us out here for this front 9. Make sure you tune in for the back 9. For Connor O'Reilly, I'm Nathan Queen. We look forward to seeing you out there.